Welcome friends, welcome to another video, welcome to another review. This time around, it's time for me to talk about Ultra Red Man from Paco Rabanne. This is going to be a very funny review, mainly because I have one major problem with this fragrance that was first released in 2008 and reintroduced to production in 2020. And my biggest problem with this fragrance isn't the fragrance itself, isn't the composition, isn't the performance. It's actually the hype that is getting in the online community, the so-called YouTube reviewers community, which are basically praising this fragrance like crazy, calling it the second best thing to Ultra Zest from Thierry Mugler, calling it similar or identical to Ultra Zest from Thierry Mugler, a fragrance that I owned for a couple of years and also used during that period in my collection up until I decided to sell it last year because I wasn't wearing it that much. A great fragrance nonetheless, which doesn't share anything in common with Ultra Red Man from Paco Rabanne except for a couple of notes. The quality of the ingredients, the quality of the scent, the performance of the scent is far, far better on Mugler's offering. What you get with Ultra Red is basically a cheaper offering that doesn't have the same performance, and it doesn't even smell the same, although other people are telling you that it is actually similar to Ultra Zest Man. So I have a problem, a huge problem with product placing, if you want. I have a big problem with this type of so-called reviewers, some of them with very big channels, who are pushing this type of products to you, the consumers, because I don't consider myself to be a reviewer. I'm actually just a regular consumer, just like you are. I purchase every single item that you see on my channel, no matter its fragrances, its technology, its smart TVs, I don't know, traveling and whatnot, from my own pocket. So I do not get any type of sponsorship. And I have a huge problem with this type of individuals who, for a commission, for a fee, for a free bottle, would say anything, would say anything only to get you to purchase that product. This fragrance is not discontinued. It has been reintroduced into production in 2020. It was discontinued a couple of years ago. It has been reintroduced. Paco Rabanne said nothing, and suspicious enough, um, this type of reviewers started to praise this fragrance basically at the same time that Paco Rabanne reintroduced the fragrance into production, saying in every single video that this is discontinued, that this is a hidden gem, that this is whatnot, and so on and so forth, when in reality they know that this is not discontinued. Let's talk about the scent and stop the ranting here. But as I said, this is my biggest problem with this fragrance. Let's talk about the composition. We have in the top notes blood orange, in the middle notes we have praline and tonka bean, and in the base notes we have vanilla and patchouli. And basically the similarities shared with Ultra Zest from Mugler are in the composition, because you have blood orange, you have tonka, you have vanilla, and you have patchouli. As I said it in my last videos, if a fragrance shares one note or many other notes with other fragrances on the market, this doesn't mean that the fragrances are identical, are similar, that the quality of the ingredients is similar, that the performance is similar, or most of all, that they smell alike. This isn't the case either. This fragrance has nothing to do except the shared ingredients in the composition with Ultra Zest from Mugler. This is centered on the praline tonka vanilla accord. At least on my skin, this is what I get every single time when wearing this fragrance from Paco Rabanne. The blood orange is very, very transparent in this composition. I actually get a small, almost undetectable hint of blood orange. So there is no similarity to the huge infusion of blood orange that you get in Ultra Zest. And also the patchouli in this one, in the dry down, it's also very faded. It's also very transparent. It only comes with that chocolatey vibe that patchouli has, and combined with the praline, combined with the tonka and the vanilla, gives you a gourmand scent, a sweet scent, but not overly sweet. It isn't that type of synthetic sweetness that I actually cannot stand and I do not wear on my skin or on my clothing. It's quite enjoyable. And also, the whole fragrance is enjoyable. I don't dislike the fragrance. I cannot say that I actually love it and I cannot stop sniffing it, but it is a good fragrance, especially if you pay the correct price for this composition. And that correct price would be around 30 euros, which, to my surprise, is not happening due to the aforementioned individuals in the beginning of this video. And thanks to them, at least in my country, in Romania, I found this fragrance being sold for 65 euros. That is double the price. Therefore, I bought my fragrance from abroad. I paid the correct price for this composition, for this 100 ml bottle, because I wasn't going to pay double for something that I knew that has nothing to do in common with Ultra Zest. This is a interesting fragrance, especially if you love gourmand fragrances, especially if you love sweet fragrances. This is a very youthful type of fragrance. It's very joyful at the same time. And I would say it's best suited mainly for casual wear. In my case, I've worn this one on holiday, and I actually worn this one in high heat, but I also worn it in the evening, going to the restaurant, having a couple of drinks and whatnot, just the usual program on holiday. And I had no issues. It was actually quite great to feel the scent, especially in the evening when the weather is cooling. So I would say it's overall a good scent. I wouldn't recommend you wearing this one at the office if you work in this type of environment. I wouldn't recommend you wearing this one at a formal event or occasion, because it isn't the case. This is a very youthful fragrance made for casual wear and for free time or spare time if you want, with your friends and whatnot, or when you are on holiday. Not very versatile, not very flexible, but it is what it is. If you love this type of fragrances, gourmand fragrances, sweet fragrances, then I highly recommend that you give this one a try. You test it out on your own skin, and only afterwards go ahead and purchase a full bottle. Also, though this is called Ultrared Men, this is a very unisex fragrance. So I have no problem in recommending this fragrance to women, to female audiences. I do believe that they will enjoy this fragrance quite a lot, mainly because of those sweet candy type accords, especially the most obvious one, the praline note, which is quite interesting in this composition, and is actually the main accord on my skin, or the main note. Therefore, for me, Ultrared Men from Paco Rabanne is actually a unisex fragrance. It isn't a manly fragrance. So I highly recommend females to also try it out. Pay the correct price for this composition. Don't be fooled. Don't overpay. Don't believe the hype. And also, if you are looking for something that I don't know resembles Ultra Zest, don't fall for all the hype that you are seeing about this fragrance in the YouTube community. It has nothing in common except a few notes in the composition. The scent is totally different. The performance is also totally different. This one, in terms of longevity, stays on me somewhere between 7 to 8 hours, which isn't bad. It isn't great also, considering the fact that Ultra Zest gave me roughly 14 hours of longevity on my skin, and even more, depending on the scenario. And also, in terms of projection, I would say this one has an overall moderate projection with quite a good sillage. So it does leave a nice and interesting and beautiful scent trail behind you, which is quite enjoyable sniffing in the air. But that's it. Again, I would say performance-wise, Ultrared Men is somewhere at about 50% from what Ultra Zest from Mugler was able to give me on my skin, and not only on my skin, also on my clothing. Therefore, stop comparing apples with pears. As I said so many times in my videos, stop comparing fragrances that don't have the same ingredients. Stop comparing fragrances that don't have the same scent profile. Stop comparing fragrances that have nothing in common, just a couple of notes and I would say the sponsorship from behind the YouTuber or the reviewer that's placing the product for you to go ahead and purchase. Don't pay for the hype, don't give on the hype, and as always, go and test it for yourself. Go into a perfume shop, I don't know, wear it, sniff it, I don't know, test it on your skin, not on paper. Again, I'm repeating myself, because people, when they try out fragrances, they use paper, which has nothing in common with your skin's chemistry. So you need to test it on your own skin. Only afterwards, see if you like it and if you want to buy it. Don't blind buy fragrances, folks. Also, if you have Ultra Zest in your collection, or if you worn Ultra Zest and you know it like I do, I highly encourage you to compare them side by side and to see what I'm talking in this review, what I'm talking in this video, and to see that they are not similar, they are not identical, and basically they have nothing in common except for the composition, or the few elements found in the composition of these two fragrances. The quality of the ingredients is totally different in these two fragrances. This fragrance from Paco Rabanne is light years behind the quality of the ingredients found in Ultra Zest. So again, as I said, don't believe the hype. Not a bad fragrance, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash or trying to trash talk about this fragrance. It isn't bad, but it isn't a masterpiece either. It isn't a hidden gem. It isn't something outstanding. It isn't something that you cannot live without. There are far more better fragrances compared to this one, especially if you're looking for something to replace Ultra Zest from Mugler. Also, don't pay a big price for a bottle of this. Try to find it at the right price, and only then go ahead and purchase it. Unfortunately, this is the world that we are living in. Everybody's focused on selling, 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 without taking into consideration the most important fact, and that is the needs of the consumers. Therefore, my friends, be advised, be careful what you see, what you hear, what you believe, and what can I say? Mistakes can be sometimes expensive. Not in the case of this one, but still. If you believe the hype too many times, you're gonna give in, and you're gonna start spending money that you could have otherwise spent on something more interesting. I'm gonna stop here, my friends. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. As always, be safe, be good, and remember, smell good, feel good. Peace.